Blessings. My name is Jonathan Haber. Thanks for checking out this video. So I'm going to share a little bit of a story with you about what just happened to me 2 days ago. And if you're interested in the themes that emerge out of this story, then I'd love to invite you to share a practice with me. So I go out dancing, and somebody stole this jacket right here that I'm holding, and this phone while I was dancing. I'm imagining, for me it feels really good to be able to hold this phone up while I say that somebody stole it. And just let a pause here and just feel these feelings, because there's a lot of inspiration for me in being with this. And so I asked my friend for a ride out here to work today, and I shared with her exactly that. I shared that this phone had been stolen, and she kind of looked at me like, how, this almost like dumbfounded look, like curiosity, like how is it that you have it if it was stolen? And it tied into our conversation because I was trying to outline to her what it is that it feels like to get out of my own way, and why I imagine that human beings, myself definitely, and then why I imagine you and everyone else might be oriented around seeking that which we most deeply yearn for, and within that, underneath that, the essential qualities in life. So I imagine that we all tend to move towards our desires in a tangible fashion, in a very fixed, circumstantial fashion. That, for example, I'd like to have enough money to fulfill my whatever goals or desires or wishes emerge for me, and to provide for my family, and to funnel into projects that I imagine would serve the planet and our future generations. And yet what I imagine underneath that is that we also desire or yearn for or seek the intrinsic qualities of life, the intrinsic goodness, and that the intrinsic preciousness, the intrinsic freedom, the intrinsic harmony of life, that which is present should we recognize it, right? That which is here for us to recognize it, and in the ways that we don't recognize it, that which we seek outward, in seeking validation from others, seeking to control our life circumstances, seeking expressions of freedom so that we feel free temporarily. And what I'm imagining is that what we most deeply yearn for, our fundamental leverage point, is whether or not we can make contact with the essential qualities, the essential freedom, that which is intrinsic. And I'm trying to explain this to her because it feels as if that's the lesson that I got from what happened, from having this phone stolen. So let me get back to the story here. The phone's stolen, the jacket's stolen, I'm dancing, and I notice it's gone. And so immediately I went into, and what's fascinating is what I didn't do also. I didn't collapse, go into futility or hopelessness or a lack of trust for humanity. And I didn't puff up and go into resistance for what is, or anger. What I did is I softened into my center. I did a quick scan. I mentioned to a couple people, let's bookmark this conversation. I need to tend to something. And I did a brief scan about. And then I made a decision to get my phone back. And I walked outside and I told the security guard, if I'm going to be retrieving a stolen phone and jacket, and if whoever is trying to take it runs, I may tackle them in the street. And he said, you're going to tackle someone. This is a massive guy, massive security guy. He says, you're going to tackle someone in the street? I said, if they run with my jacket, yes. And I'm 150 pounds. So I walk back inside and I stand at the doorway that everyone has to get through in order to leave the building. There's one doorway, give thanks. And I just softened into my senses, softened into my center, softened into this feeling of ferocity, this unstoppable quality, this feeling of clarity that the only thing in the way, the only thing that could stop me is me getting in my own way, and just this softening into my capacity and into my will to be who I needed to be in order to allow the resolve necessary to have my phone and my jacket back. And I just took to noticing what was around me. And a gentleman brushed by me, and I saw, just for an instant, I saw shame in his eyes, or what appeared to be shame. I felt it. I felt him in his urgency to leave. And so I followed him, and when he got to the door where there's 3 security guards outside, as he was making for the door, I tapped him on the shoulder and said, sir, there's been a robbery. A jacket's missing, and we're going to need to check your jacket. So I'm acting as if I'm head of security, like I own the place. And I just owned that. And so he says, oh, no problem, and he shows me my jacket's tucked into his jacket. And then after requesting that he empty his pockets and so on, he conceded. And then I ended up pulling my phone intuitively out of his girlfriend's purse. And later somebody asked me, and he said, oh, well, did you call the cops? And I said, no, I forgave them both and sent them home. Because I'm not interested in retribution in this circumstance. I'm not interested in, I felt grateful for the experience. I felt grateful that somebody was testing my capacity to show up all the way to life. And yeah. So in trying to describe what happened in this situation, I realized that a number of people kind of look at me like baffled, like, wow, that's awesome, good job, you did it, or whatever. But these kind of, and I'm feeling a lot of inspiration right now, just kind of welling up, being with this thought and what's coming here. But a lot of what I'm experiencing now it seems to be attributed to the work that I'm doing, the inner work that I'm doing, and getting out of my own way. I don't doubt my capacity. I don't doubt my will to do just about anything. And yet and so without those things in the way, and I'm allowing my compass to be that which inspires me. I'm allowing myself to rest into or lean into my edges and lean into my growth and share my gift. And in this way, it seems as if these miracles, these phenomenal occasions, these moments of impossibility are happening every day, over and over. And I want to keep sharing this. And I want to share it in particular because what I want for myself is also what I want for you. What I want for me is that when I desire to grow, I allow myself that experience. When I desire to learn, I allow myself that experience. When I want to set a goal, I allow myself to set a goal, and I allow myself to get out of my own way. Because for me, setting a goal and achieving it is not about my seeking that future moment. I actually have come to clarify for myself that that seeking of fulfillment of my goal is actually an obstacle to the success. And that in order to get out of my own way, I can present what it would feel like, what it would look like, what it would take to actualize a goal. And then any resistance that comes up into allowing myself that experience of actualizing that goal, any of that resistance, those are the obstacles that my interior present moment experience contains a fundamental leverage point for actualizing my goals. And so far, I haven't set a goal to make a bunch of money. And what occurs to me is that now, after sort of finding myself in a position where I didn't have enough money to take care of my basic needs for the first time in a while, I'm imagining it's time. It's time to actually allow myself to make some money. And in particular, I'd like to stay in congruence with being with that which inspires me. And part of that is that I want to guide people. I'm yearning to guide people. I'm yearning to teach these things, these inner skills that I've been cultivating. It's a hunger for me, and I'm with this sense of almost like certainty. Like I've facilitated groups before, I've coached before. Those were the best moments of my life. So in a purely egocentric fashion, this is my calling. This is what lights me up. This is the yearning that I feel to serve. And yet there's also a way in which now, before as a facilitator, I was all right. I wasn't really devoted to presence. And yet the curricula I was using was deep and profound, and we had just profound experiences together. We created a sense of community and a bond that lasted well into the future. Some of the deepest friendships I have ever had came out of that circle. And when I've coached before, when I've really taken on coaching people, I wasn't deeply present. I was aiming for that. And I still got a lot out of it, and people reported that they got a lot out of it. So I get that this is my trajectory, but now that I'm so capable and so cognizant of my capability to be present, and so cognizant of my will to be present, to really sink into showing up as fully as I can with other beings. And now that I have this obscene lack of doubt in myself, and this obscene lack of doubt in other people, this deep sense that capacity is not an issue. Whatever you want to create, whether you're capable of it, is not the issue. And whatever you want to generate or create, your willpower is not an issue. I get that now. I get that from within. I get that in my cells. I get that about you. And because of that, I'm in this place where I'm imagining I could be, would be, will be a really profound ally in this adventure. So what I want from you is, I don't think just signing people up through a video is going to work. That's what my teacher says anyway. He says the video isn't going to enlist clients. But what I want from you is send this video out to everyone I know. I'll put everyone you know on through here or through your email lists. I'll put directions on how to do that. Send it out, spread it, let it go viral. And anyone who hasn't experienced coaching with me, let's give you 15 minutes. Anytime in the next 2 weeks, let's give you 15 minutes of my time. And I want you just to send me a text and say, hey, I'm interested. When can we do this? And then we'll just schedule you guys in blocks. And I'll give you little tasters. Take you for an inner journey together. And this site, this database is great for that, and yet most of these practices were created to explore my edges, which may be your edges, and you might just line right up with it and get lit up. And our time would be oriented around whatever your edges are, whatever you see in terms of your growth. So you could just be as simple as like setting a goal. You want help just setting a goal, or you want help actualizing a goal and getting out of your own way. I fiercely believe that you are unstoppable to the extent that you get out of your own way, because that's what I see and that's what feels affirmed to me every day in my life. So forward this video and join me, text me, email me, sign up. Let's spend 15 minutes collaborating together. And if you get value out of it, then I'll give you an opportunity if you want to assess the possibility of scheduling in the future. And let's let it be donation-based. Donate what you can, whatever feels right for you from the time. It could be nothing. It could be, whatever. And we'll do that. We'll do a bunch of 15-minute sessions. And then if you want to continue, then we can sort out whatever price feels right. I think that might be specific. And do a sliding scale. It might be person specific. But let's do a bunch of these. And then give up like 10 slots for coaching. And if you can't afford coaching and it doesn't feel right to pay out for it, but you want it, then we'll do group coaching and get this ball rolling. Thank you so much for spending some time with me right now. I look forward to connecting with you. And talk soon.